Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Chinenye Nwoye. First, let's bring you the headlines. Pope Francis discharged from hospital after more than 5 weeks on treatment for pneumonia in both lungs. NDLEA intercepts Indian lady with 72 parcels of heroin in chocolate wraps at Kano Airport. And following human rights concerns, Inspector General of Police warns personnel against incessant and unlawful detentions. Many thanks for joining us. Pope Francis has been discharged from the hospital after making a brief first public appearance in more than 5 weeks. The Pope was seen waving to a crowd from his window at Rome's Gemelli Hospital, where he has been hospitalized with pneumonia. The Pontiff, 88, smiled and waved to cheering crowds who had been waiting outside to catch a glimpse of the leader of the Catholic Church, who appeared on the balcony in a wheelchair, which he has used for several years, and said, "Thank you all." Addressing reporters outside the hospital in Rome, the Pope's doctors said his life had been in danger on 2 occasions, but confirmed he has remained stable for at least 2 weeks. Francis will need a further 2 months of rest once he returns to the Vatican, the head of his medical team said, and his doctors say it would take a lot of time for his aging body to fully heal. He's expected to return home to Casa Santa Marta in the Vatican City. The head of the world's 1.4 billion Catholics has been hospitalized since February 14th, the longest stretch of his tenure. Istanbul's embattled opposition mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu vowed on Sunday to fight on after a court formalized his arrest, a move that sparked Turkey's worst street unrest in more than a decade. Chukwunonso Nwabueze reports.
4 days after he was detained in a pre-dawn raid by hundreds of police, a court formally placed İmamoğlu under arrest in a graft investigation, one of his lawyers told reporters vowing to appeal. However, the court decided against formalizing his arrest in a separate terror probe, he said. The rulings came after a fortnight of street protests across Turkey that led to heavy clashes with riot police in Istanbul and the capital, Ankara. The court's decision came as the main opposition Republican People's Party, CHP party, cast its ballots in a long-planned primary to elect İmamoğlu as its candidate in the 2028 presidential election. Observers say it was the looming primary that triggered the move against İmamoğlu, widely seen as the only politician capable of challenging President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Officials say the move against him sparked protests that quickly spread from Istanbul to at least 55 of Turkey's 81 provinces, with police arresting 323 people overnight. In a post on X shortly after the court's decision, İmamoğlu vowed to fight on, urging his supporters not to lose heart. "We will erase this black stain on our democracy," he wrote in a message transmitted via his lawyers. As the court drama played out, voters flocked to ballot boxes in 81 cities after the CHP opened up the poll to anyone who wanted to participate. Several Istanbul polling stations were packed with people. The mayor and dozens of his co-detainees were taken to the Savli prison in Istanbul after the court's verdict on Sunday. Saturday night's protests began shortly after İmamoğlu was taken to the courthouse to answer prosecutors' questions relating to the 2 probes. The unrest has spread rapidly despite a ban on protests in Turkey's 3 largest cities and a warning from Erdogan that authorities will not tolerate street terror. Chukwunonso Nwabueze, NTA News.
The South African ambassador who was expelled from the United States in a row with President Donald Trump's government arrived home on Sunday to a rousing welcome which struck a defiant tone over the decision. Again, Chukwunonso Nwabueze reports.
Russell was greeted with cheers and applause from hundreds of placard-waving supporters, mostly clad in the green and yellow of the ruling African National Congress Party at Cape Town International Airport. The former anti-apartheid campaigner defended his remarks on Sunday, saying he was speaking to South African intellectuals, political leaders and others to tell them that the old way of doing business with the US was not going to work. It was not our choice to come home, but we come home with no regrets, Ibrahim Rasool told hundreds of supporters in Cape Town after he was ousted from Washington on accusations of being a race-baiting politician who hates Trump.
Sacrifice that. We cannot sacrifice the Palestinians. We will not give up on BRICS. We will not give up on our relationship with China, but we will also not give up with our relationship with the United States.
Ties between Washington and Pretoria have slumped since Trump cut financial aid to South Africa over what he alleges is its anti-white land policy, its genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, and other foreign policy clashes. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio last week said Rasool was expelled after he described Trump's Make America Great Again movement as a supremacist reaction to diversity in the U.S. Unless we change our way of speaking to the U.S. and recognizing what is the U.S., it is not the U.S. of Obama, it is not the U.S. of Clinton, it is a different U.S. Therefore, our language must change not only to transactionality, but also a language that can penetrate a group that has clearly identified a French white community in South Africa as their constituency, Rasool said.
The fact that what I said caught the attention of the President and the Secretary of State and moved them enough to declare me persona non grata says that the message went to the highest office in the United States of America.
President Trump in February froze U.S. aid to South Africa, citing a law in the country that he alleges allows land to be seized from white farmers. Trump further heightened tensions this month, saying South Africa's farmers were welcome to settle in the United States after repeating his accusations without providing evidence that the government was confiscating land from white people. Ramaphosa said South Africa would seek to engage with the United States by dispatching envoys from the business community and government. Meanwhile, Rasool is due to provide a report to President Cyril Ramaphosa on Monday. Chukunonsonwa Bueze, NTA News.
Dry season farmers in Kano State are experiencing a bountiful harvest of wheat and vegetables during this year, which is expected to further reduce food prices in the area. Musa Baba Aliyu reports that many farmers have benefited from support provided by federal and state governments, as well as various organizations to boost their production.
These individuals with special needs reside in Kuro local government area of Kano State. Despite facing physical challenges, 300 of them have formed a group to cultivate wheat. This year, they planted wheat on 5 hectares of land, which is now ready for harvest. Under the We Can Work project, they anticipate harvesting 200 bags of wheat. Lawal Kura, the group's leader, emphasizes that farming is more profitable than begging. We received support from the Women Farmers Advancement Network to cultivate this wheat field, he says. Other groups of women have also received assistance in vegetable production and have begun harvesting their crops. Sayaba Isiaku is one of the women farmers supported.
Previously, women in our community did not engage in vegetable farming. However, now, most of the women are growing vegetables and other crops.
Another group from Garumala local government area of Kano State expressed gratitude for the support they received through the Women Farmers Initiative.
Our unions have been invested and we were taught how to preserve them.
We have marketing hubs that WOFAN also established in different markets, including Kura, Karipi, and other markets in different locations. So these WOFAN groups can easily take their harvest and go and sell in the market.
The WOFAN initiative has not only increased farmers' incomes and food availability, but has also created jobs along its value chain in the rural communities of Kano and Jigawa states. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
In order to achieve its goal of reducing reliance on fossil fuels, carbon credit objectives, economic sustainability, and environmental preservation, the time for the nation to transit to renewable energy solutions is now. These are views of environmentalists who share their perspectives on the nation's march towards sustainable energy solutions. Lanre Belay reports.
Nigeria is endowed with abundant renewable energy resources and as such is prepared to transit in the area of wind, hydro, solar, and biomass to scale up energy supply. The federal government, acknowledging this advantage, has made concrete plans in its policies such as the 2023 Electricity Act that recognizes renewable energy. There is the National Energy Transition Plan launched in 2022 that targets 30,000 megawatts of electricity from renewable energy sources and reaching carbon neutrality by 2060. And the off-grid solutions to address energy poverty using solar system, which is gaining traction in Nigeria.
The clean energy transition will also generate, jobs.
Experts adduced the challenges of transitioning in the country to include grid integration, infrastructure development, and financing.
In a situation whereby we are relying on imported materials all through to be able to transit, that becomes a huge challenge. The cost cannot be friendly. There must be investment in off-grid solutions, in renewable energy. There must be factories producing solar panels in Nigeria with Nigerian raw materials.
Environmentalists advocate collaboration between public and private sectors along with international partners in overcoming these challenges and accelerating the renewable energy transition. In Lagos, Lanre Belay, NTA News.
Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have intercepted a 42-year-old Indian lady, Miss Netu Netu, at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Makia Kano, with 72 parcels of heroin factory sealed in water wraps and packaged as chocolates. The Class A drug consignment, weighing a total of 11 kilograms, was recovered from Netu's luggage after a thorough search, following processed credible intelligence during an inward clearance of Qatar Airways flight QR1431 from Bangkok, Thailand, via Vietnam and Doha at the arrival hall of the Kano airport. The arrest of Netu signifies a growing attempt by drug trafficking organizations to hire white ladies and foreign nationals to move illicit drugs through the Nigerian borders, a bid that vigilant NDLEA operatives have consistently frustrated with the aid of modern technological tools and proactive. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ebetokun, has issued a stern reminder to all members of the Nigerian police force regarding the importance of respecting the fundamental rights in the context of pre-trial detentions. The IGP emphasized that adherence to legally stipulated detention periods is not only a legal obligation, but also a fundamental aspect of upholding the dignity and rights of individuals, as enshrined in Sections 34 and 35 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which guarantees the right to dignity and personal liberty. The IGP cautions against any practice that may lead to unlawful or prolonged detentions, which can undermine public trust and confidence in the police, reiterating that any officer found violating these principles will face serious consequences, calling for a culture of accountability within the force. The IGP thereby encouraged officers to uphold the highest standards of conduct in their interactions with the public by prioritizing human rights. The Nigeria Police Force aims to build stronger relationships with the communities it serves, ensuring that policing is conducted with integrity and respect. The Nigeria Governors Forum says the forum is an umbrella body for sub-national governments to promote unified policy positions and collaborate with relevant stakeholders in pursuit of sustainable socio-economic growth and well-being of the people. The forum says, as a technical and policy hub, comprising governors elected on different platforms, the body elects to stay clear of taking positions that may alienate members with varying political interests. In a statement signed by its Director General, Abdulateef Shitu, explains that taking positions on contentious partisan issues would mean a poor sense of history just a few years after the forum survived a fundamental division following political differences among its members. Regardless, the forum is reputed for its bold positions on governance and general policy matters of profound consequences, such as wages, taxes, education, and universal health care, among others, and appeals for understanding of the public. This is the news on NTA International. We'll take a break here. There will be more reports when we return. Many thanks for staying on. Providing solutions to peace-building mechanisms, land and water competition, policy inefficiency, animal disease and access to finance have been identified as the pivotal role of achieving significant livestock production and development in Nigeria. This formed part of the resolutions at the first Benue Livestock Investment Summit 2025. Yusuf Jika reports.
The first Benue Livestock Summit provides an opportunity for critical stakeholders to offer solutions to challenges of livestock production for better farming practices.
It is also a clarion call for all to see the livestock production as a gold mine ready to be tapped to reimagining the future of livestock production in Nigeria for economic growth and self-sufficiency.
Embrace innovative solutions and most recent animal husbandry practices.
Governor Hyacinth Alia of Benue State said livestock is a key driver to economic growth, with Benue leading the trend, calling for ranch establishment nationwide.
Livestock development stands out as a readily available high-impact opportunity. And without ambiguity, the livestock sector represents a vital and widely practiced component of agriculture.
Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mukhtar Maiha, maintained that the industry has several value chains that Nigerians can benefit, highlighting the international community commitment to the sector and call on other subnationals to adopt efforts of reigniting the industry for the better.
This summit might as well be a solid foundation for a post-oil economy for Benue State. Oil is extractive, it is not renewable. Livestock is green, regenerative, organic, and is there forever.
High points of the event were the panel discussions and exhibition. In Makurdi, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
The Bayelsa State government has appealed to the people of the state to make themselves available for the ongoing oral cholera vaccination as a veritable preventive measure against the communicable disease. Governor Dore Diri, who was represented by his deputy, Senator Lawrence Ewuru-Jakpo, made the appeal at the joint flag-off exercise of cholera vaccination campaign by the World Health Organization, WHO, and the state government in Government House, Yenagoa. Timipre Ohia reports.
The Bayelsa State Governor Doye Diri, represented by the deputy Lawrence Ewuru-Jakpo, was the first to be administered with the cholera vaccine alongside some cabinet members. Flagging off the oral cholera vaccine, the deputy governor noted that vaccines are safe in boosting the immune system, as he appreciates World Health Organization for collaborating with the state government in addressing health issues in the state.
6 layers of epidemics we have in the state, no life was lost in our state. But in other states, lives were lost. And so, we want to thank the WHO, one of our partners, to translate this in our dialect, and in our key dialects so that people can understand and they should come out. Because we believe that if we do this one very successfully, they will make it and extend it to other local government areas.
The WHO gave us 700,000 doses to cover immunization across 2 local governments, Southern Ijaw and Nimbi local government area. And for the South states, none was given, but primarily because of that effort and and show of commitment by government, we have that opportunity.
State Coordinator, World Health Organization, Dr. Marcus Oluwadare, commended the state government's response to health emergency, saying Bayelsa State is the fourth state in the country to receive the oral cholera vaccines, which is safe for children above 1 year of age.
Other states like Rivers and others, they were querying on whom did you know in the international cholera group that releases vaccine to Bayelsa State. We also, our people are dying. Why did they not release to us? They now asked me, they put me on speaker, and I said, it's God that we know in Bayelsa State. And that same God is the one that helped us to have this vaccine. And I want to appreciate you, sir. Your efforts will not be in vain.
The vaccine covers beneficiary for 3 years, even if there is cholera outbreak. In Yenogwa, Timinupri, or here, NTA News.
The House of Representatives Committee on Climate Change says it is ready to give impetus to the actualization of all aspects of the Act. This was the fallout during the committee's engagements with agencies, with the Act mandated to establish climate change desk to fast-track the implementation of the tenets of the Act in their operations. The committee, led by its chairman, Dr. Kem Kaman, while engaging the management of the Rural Electrification Agency, expressed concerns at the slow pace of implementation by the various ministries and agencies.
Carbonization is very important for us, for our health, our air, the cleanness of our energy system, the renewable energy, and all they are engaging in. We wanted to know if all are being followed through, then in no distant time, it's going to be, we won't be talking about energy problems in this country anymore. But most importantly, clean energy.
The energy transition should not be seen just as a process, but as a catalyst for economic development in the country. In as much as the country has a number of people that are without electricity access, let's turn that into opportunities. Let's make Nigeria to be the renewable hub of West Africa.
In demonstration of the spirit of love, compassion and unity impeded in Ramadan, the Minister of State for Works, Bello Mohammed Goronyo, has provided support to over 10,000 households in Sokoto State as annual Ramadan package to complement the efforts of both the federal and state governments. Usman Zuberi reports that the gesture is aimed at putting smiles on the faces of the vulnerable during this period of sacred month.
Ramadan fast is an annual spiritual experience for the Muslims and bonanza from Allah to multiply rewards in getting closer to Allah by showing kindness to the less privileged and vulnerable groups. This humanitarian gesture by the Minister of State for Works for his constituent that cut across all strata people is to complement the effort of both the federal and state governments, especially during this holy month of Ramadan. Items distributed include bags of rice, cash assistance, and clothes. Each of the households in Sabangarin Dule, Goren local government area, Sokoto State, are expected to benefit from this gesture. Minister of State for Works, Bella Gorenyo, enjoined Muslims to see the month of Ramadan as a period of moral and spiritual awakening. He said, to whom much is given, much is expected from him, assuring people of the unwavering commitment of the President Tinubu to improving the lives of Nigerians through various policies and programs under the Renewable Agenda.
Mr. President is very passionate about Nigeria. He's a Nigerian and he's a patriotic leader who believes in true Nigeria, and he believes that every nook and cranny of this nation deserve to be supported in terms of infrastructure, in terms of dividend of democracy.
Some of the beneficiaries commended the minister for the life-saving intervention and godly gesture. This gesture is part of the minister's long tradition touching the lives of vulnerable groups. In Abuja, Usman Zuberi, NTA News.
Let's now take a look at Monday's weather prospects for Nigerian cities and other parts of the world. And that's the news at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Chineye Ngoe.